Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about determining which evidence is actually the most effective when you're trying to support a particular claim. So in order for us to do that, we're taking a look at this photo right here. Most people would look at this picture and automatically assume that what happened here was one of these guys ran into another one of these guys. But what led you to that conclusion? What makes all of us instantaneously decide that that's what happened here? It's because we're taking a look at the evidence that's available to us in the photo and automatically processing through which evidence applies, and we're automatically processing through a bunch of reasoning. So believe it or not, if you came to any kind of conclusion about what happened here within the first few moments of looking at this picture, then you're actually following the argumentative process of developing a claim, identifying evidence, and providing reasoning. So the next thing for us to do is just try to be as objective as possible and identify all of the available evidence. We don't really need to figure out yet which evidence applies. That comes next. Right now we're just gathering evidence. So what can we observe here? One thing that we see is that there are two cars present on the scene. Another thing that we see is that the hood or front of both cars are touching. And we see that there are two guys present. Both drivers' doors are open. We see that the cars are blue. We see that there is green grass visible in the video, in the picture. We see that they appear to be on a roadway. And we see that both men are wearing white shirts. We see that one guy has glasses. One guy is wearing shoes. One guy has his arms out. One guy is scratching his head, talking on the phone. We could keep going and name a bunch of evidence that's just observable here. For instance, one guy is wearing a red tie. One guy has longer hair, one guy has shorter hair, etc. So I've just picked out a handful of pieces of evidence that are true about this photo. The next thing for us to do is to decide which of these pieces of evidence actually matters to our claim. And before we do that, we need to come up with a claim. So we have to answer the question of what happened here. I am going to claim that, let's see, what do I want to say about these guys? I'm going to claim that the guy on the cell phone ran into the guy with glasses. That's my claim, is that this man is at fault for running into this man. That's what I'm trying to prove. Of the evidence that I've selected here, which of these pieces of evidence actually apply? Well, there are two cars present, so without two cars, they couldn't have had a collision. So I'm going to highlight that as applicable. Oh, if I could only spell applicable, wouldn't that be great? All right, so the hood or front of both cars are touching. Again, if that weren't true, then a collision would not have occurred. And I am trying to prove that the one guy ran into or collided with the other guy, so I am going to highlight that. There are two guys present. I don't know how much that actually proves that one guy ran into the other guy, because this guy could have actually run into this parked car regardless of whether or not he was present. So maybe I highlight that in like a light yellow. Both drivers' doors are open. While it's true that both drivers' doors are open, and that's likely because they both hopped out of their vehicles directly following a collision, I don't really know that this actually proves that the guy with the red tie ran into the guy with the glasses, so I'm not going to highlight that. Both cars are blue. Again, this is true. It's observable evidence, but does that apply to my claim? No. There's green grass. Also, definitely does not apply to my claim. They appear to be on a roadway, gray asphalt. This is kind of like the one with the driver's doors being open. Yeah, they obviously had to be on a roadway for them to be driving and therefore to collide, but I don't know that that directly proves my claim. Both men are wearing white shirts. Again, true. Also, definitely not applicable. One guy has glasses. Now, if I wanted to get really into the weeds here about somebody who's wearing glasses, maybe has like a higher visual acuity than the guy without glasses and blah, 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 then I could get into that. And if I were a lawyer and I were trying to defend this guy's claim, I maybe would do that. But to prove this claim as it stands, I think I'm just going to leave that unhighlighted. One guy's wearing shoes. Well, doesn't seem to apply. One guy has his arms out. I actually am going to highlight that because I'm trying to prove that the guy on the cell phone ran into this guy. So this guy's body language is telling me some stuff that I'm going to get into more when I talk about reasoning. Same thing with this guy's body language. So I'm going to highlight that as well. So of the evidence that I observed, I've highlighted that the fact that there are two cars, the fact that those cars are touching each other, the fact that one guy has his arms out, and that one guy is scratching his head talking on the phone. Those are my main pieces of evidence that I'm going to use to prove my claim here. So now I need to actually start providing some reasoning. So I'm trying to prove the claim that this guy ran into this guy. That's all I'm trying to prove. And I've already narrowed down of the observable evidence that I've noted, which pieces of evidence actually apply here. So I'm going to delete everything else. Even though those are still pieces of evidence, they are not pieces of evidence that actually apply to what I'm trying to prove. So right now I need to figure out how I can convince someone that these four pieces of evidence actually do prove my claim. And that's what reasoning really is. Reasoning is an explanation of why your evidence does fit your claim. Reasoning tends to be the hardest thing for most students to understand. And the thing is, if you weren't doing really good reasoning, you wouldn't have been able to pick out good evidence. So even though it seems complicated at first, I promise you, if you're picking out evidence that makes sense, you've already done the reasoning. It really just comes down to finding an effective way to explain the reasoning that you did instantaneously. So let's take a look at this one first. We have two cars here. Why does the fact that there are two cars present explain why this guy ran into this guy? It doesn't by itself, of course. If there were two cars present, this guy could have run into this guy. So by itself, that piece of evidence doesn't automatically support my claim. But I do have to provide some reasoning that will help me make these pieces of evidence clearer later. So I went ahead and drafted a reasoning statement, and I'm going to point out a few things. It says, generally speaking, when there's a car accident, it involves at least two cars. In this photo, we see two cars. Therefore, it's possible a car accident has occurred. Notice the things that I put in bold here. Phrases like generally speaking, therefore, and possible. The reason why we use things like generally speaking or words like usually or often when we're using reasoning language is because reasoning is based on our past experience. Reasoning is based on what we tend to understand to be true. We want to be careful about speaking in like all the way statements, black or white statements. We don't want to say always. Always when there's a car accident, there are two cars, because we know that's not true. Some cars can crash into a tree all by themselves. But we want to talk about generalities, what's usually true and what's reasonable to be true. So again, we wouldn't say, generally speaking, when there's a car accident, it's because an alien put a car in front of another car, because reasonably that is not the case. So generally speaking, when there's a car accident, it usually involves at least two cars. And then I want to link it back to the actual evidence. In this photo, we see two cars. Therefore, that word therefore is essentially like a verbal equation mark. It's like an equal sign for my listeners. It helps them understand how what I've pointed out to them as evidence actually equals my claim. Then again, I use the word possible. It's possible. I could also use the word probable or the word, did I say probably? The word likely. Any of these terms are good reasoning language terms because I'm hinting at the consistent reasonableness of what I'm saying, how it's usually this way, but I can't promise that it's always this way. So generally speaking, when there's a car accident, it involves at least two cars. In this photo, we see two cars. Therefore, it's likely a car accident has occurred. Now let's look at our next piece of evidence. The hood or front of both cars are touching. Take a second, pause this video, and think about how you would create reasoning language to connect this piece of evidence to this claim. It's going to happen similarly to what we did with the two cars. It doesn't prove the claim by itself, but it's a building block in proving the claim. So take a second, pause the video, and think of how you would explain this to somebody. All right, I'm hoping that you paused the video and thought through that. Here's what I would say, one of the many things that could be said if I were providing reasoning statement for this piece of evidence. I'm going to start with usually. Usually, cars or drivers of cars try really hard not to touch those cars to other cars or really anything, because of course that would tend to cause damage to a vehicle. So usually drivers of cars try really hard not to touch those cars to others. Generally speaking, when two cars are touching, it is likely the result of an accident or collision. So there's my reasoning statement for that piece of evidence. I told you that I was going to explain a little bit more in depth why these two pieces of evidence seemed to be good ones to prove this claim. So on this first one, one guy has his arms out. This is where the generally speaking or the usually when statements become really important. Generally speaking, when people are upset because they have been wronged, they show indignation, which means the sort of shocked stubbornness at the result of what's happened to them. And this man's body language appears to be indignant. Appears to be is another good reasoning term, because again, I can't promise you that this man was feeling indignant when he posed this way, but generally speaking, when somebody splays their arms out like that and leans back, it's usually because they're upset, and they're upset at someone or something in particular, something that they feel is not their fault. Same one here, same sort of situation here. The guy is scratching his head, talking on the phone. Well, how does that actually connect to our claim? I would say, generally speaking, am I spelling this right? Okay. Generally speaking, when somebody has committed a huge error, their body language is contrite, as in they're showing apology, they're showing in their body language that they feel bad and that they feel regretful, or they appear ashamed. This body language can include looking at the ground, scratching one's head, etc. Additionally, usually when someone has caused a car accident, their first act is typically to, another good reasoning term, to call their auto insurance agent to report that they've made a huge error. So hopefully this has been a good introduction for you about how you can connect evidence to a claim and how you can provide good reasoning statements that glues your evidence to your claim. One last tip I'll give you with reasoning, just pretend that the person you're talking to has no clue why you picked the evidence you did. Even though it's super obvious to you, they need a little mental bridge to get them from the evidence to the claim. That's what your reasoning is. It's you walking them to your claim and explaining with absolute clarity what generalities or what typical life rules make your evidence valuable or reasonable to prove the claim that you're trying to prove. And that's it.